Jai Hind students. Today we are gonna begin with the new chapter, that is respiration in organisms. What is respiration in organisms? All the living organisms respire. Respiration is essential for survival of living organisms. It releases energy from the food. The oxygen we inhale is used to break down the glucose or the food into carbon dioxide and water. Energy is further released in the process, and respiration is a process which involves breathing. Now, respiration in animals. Why do organisms respire? Organisms respire to get energy from food. During respiration, energy is released from food, and this takes place inside the cells of the body. Oxygen of air taken inside the cells is used for breaking down of food, and energy is released by burning food. Respiration, it is the process by which food is broken down in the cells of the body with the help of oxygen to release energy. Since respiration takes place in the cells of the body, it is called cellular respiration. Now, cellular respiration. We breathe out air which is rich in carbon dioxide. The air we breathe in is transported to all the parts of the body and ultimately to each cell. The process of breakdown of food in the cell with the release of energy is called cellular respiration. Cellular respiration takes place in the cells of all the organisms. Now in here, C6H12O6, that is glucose, plus oxygen provides us carbon dioxide, water and energy. Means the food that we already have in our body is called glucose. When we breathe, the oxygen reaches to it, they together to react to produce carbon dioxide, water and energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate. Now the release of energy during cellular respiration takes place. Types of respiration. There are two types of respiration, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Now aerobic respiration is the type of respiration wherein the respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen, in which glucose breaks into carbon dioxide and water with the release of energy. It takes place in most of the organisms. Now anaerobic respiration is type of respiration wherein the respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen, meaning oxygen is not needed for anaerobic respiration. This type of respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen or in the lack of oxygen. It takes place in the yeast cells. Now in here, the glucose is broken into alcohol and carbon dioxide with the release of energy. Glucose gives us ethanol plus carbon dioxide and energy. Now in absence of oxygen in our muscle cells, glucose breaks into lactic acid with the release of energy. Muscle cramps and relief. Muscle cramps occur when there is anaerobic respiration taking place in our muscles. During anaerobic respiration, glucose gets converted into lactic acid, which leads to lack of oxygen. This causes pain in our muscles. A hot water bath or a massage can help in getting relief from the muscle cramps. These two things improve blood circulation, thereby increasing the supply of oxygen to the muscles. Breathing is the process of moving air in and out of the lungs to facilitate gas exchange. The taking in of oxygen rich air is called inhalation. The giving out of carbon dioxide rich air is called exhalation. The respiratory rate in human is measured by counting the number of breaths for 1 minute. for humans, the typical respiratory rate for a healthy adult at rest is 12 to 18 breaths per minute. When a person needs more energy, he or she breathes faster and more oxygen is supplied to the cells. More food is broken down to get more energy. Now, what makes up the respiratory system? Now, what are the different parts of the respiratory system, or what parts of our body together makes respiratory system? So these are nose, mouth, throat. Throat is also known as pharynx. Then we have the voice box, also known as larynx. Windpipe can be also called as trachea. Airways, which are the bronchi, and at last we have lungs. Now, how does the breathing takes place in human body, right? So we have external nostrils, which leads to nasal passage, which further leads to nasal chamber, leading us to nasopharynx, larynx, trachea, which further divides into bronchi, further dividing into primary bronchioles, then to the secondary to tertiary bronchioles, terminal bronchi, and at last we have alveoli. Now the major exchange of gases, that is the exchange between the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, mainly takes place in the alveoli of the human body. How do we breathe? Breathing involves the rib cage and a muscular sheet below the chest cavity called as diaphragm. Now, during inhalation, chest cavity increases in size and the diaphragm moves down and air enters into the lungs. During the exhalation, the chest cavity reduces in size and the diaphragm moves up and air is pushed out of the lungs. Then let's see about the mechanism of breathing. Now, inhalation is the process of taking in air containing oxygen, while exhalation is the process of giving out rich containing carbon dioxide. This is the basic process of breathing. Here, one breath involves the one complete inhalation and exhalation. What causes us to sneeze? Now, sneezing is caused by the irritation to the mucous members of the nose or throat. We often sneeze when we inhale a lot of dust-laden air to expel out those foreign particles which enters into the nose and irritates the mucus of the nose or the throat. These particles get past the hair in the nasal cavity and irritates the lining of the cavity, which triggers a message to the brain. The brain instructs the chamber to initiate sneezing. Now let's differentiate between respiration and breathing. Now in respiration takes place all the time. It is like we breathe and we break down the food to produce energy. This process takes place in our body all the time, whereas breathing takes place all the time. Now, respiration takes place in every cell of the body, whereas breathing takes place in the lungs of our body. Respiration is a process of breaking down of food to release energy, whereas breathing is a process of gaseous exchange with the environment. In here, no produce of energy is included. Then we have respiration. It uses oxygen to obtain energy, to break down the food to release energy. It uses oxygen obtained from breathing, whereas breathing takes in oxygen from the environment. Now, respiration. This leads to the production of carbon dioxide, and breathing removes carbon dioxide produced during respiration. Now, why or what do we breathe out, right? So oxygen, inhaled air contains 21% of oxygen, more oxygen than the exhaled air. Then the exhaled air contains 16% oxygen, less oxygen than the inhaled air. this table can be read by you people, so I would really appreciate if you'll do so. And that's all. Thank you.